Man in winter gear examines a dam schematic, noting a snowfield in front and hills on both sides. He explains that while the girl turns everything into a bomb, his strengthened building should withstand it, as an image of a grinning girl appears. He describes a slightly dangerous woman who can emit powerful, long-range energy waves, with a blurry image of her surrounded by swirling power. He identifies the most dangerous threat as the boy capable of creating avalanches, as a faded image of a boy sitting in snow appears. Observing the boy near the dam, the man expresses concern that the boy could bury him and the dam with snow. He looks at a rifle, wishing he could hit distant targets, but acknowledging he lacks the professional sniper skills for such a distance. He worries he won't be able to discover the enemies in time if they hide on the dam side hills. The man crosses his arms, pondering what other methods he has to get rid of them. He considers setting a trap on their path, but dismisses it, knowing it would be ineffective against their ice-controlling foe. He devises a plan to lure them to the dam's lower level, then release the water, ensuring their inescapable defeat. He ponders the logistical challenge of luring them to the lower level and simultaneously opening the gate. He observes the massive 7-meter-tall gateway, contemplating its scale. He considers that the ice layer might cause the water below the gate to be higher, as he labels parts of the dam. He decides it's better to go down and check, stirring up wind around him. Whoosh! The man descends into a crevice, expressing apprehension that if the gate doesn't release water at the crucial moment, he'll be doomed. A powerful pink energy beam melts ice as it blasts down the dam wall. Whoosh! He confirms water is flowing, satisfied that luring them to the lower level will ensure his victory. A wide shot reveals a snowy landscape, followed by the 3 enemies moving through a snowy forest, enveloped in a protective energy sphere. Clatter! Clatter! The group moves across the snow, and the blonde boy creates an icy barrier around them. Stops. The white-haired woman identifies the man's location above the dam, instructing Yuan Yi to move first, followed by Zixi when the man appears. Yuan Yi agrees. Yuan Yi, the blonde boy, kneels in the snow, preparing his attack. Rustle! Rustle! A massive wave of snow and ice surges forward, signifying Yuan Yi's avalanche attack. Crash! Boom! The avalanche rolls powerfully down the mountain, leaving a trail of destruction. Boom! Rumble! The man inside the house sees a glowing green energy approaching and realizes his enemies have arrived. Buzz buzz! 2 large, damaged structures lie in the snow, remnants of the avalanche's impact. Rustle! Rustle! The man's house, now a large stone structure, is partially obscured by the snow cloud from the impact. Whoosh! The snow settles, revealing the man's house embedded in the snow, with him inside preparing for action. Whoosh! The man aims his large rifle from inside the damaged house, stating his intent to locate them. Clang! A golden energy beam shoots from the man's rifle, striking the large stone structure in the snow. Bang! The golden energy projectile flies swiftly over the snowy landscape towards its target. The 3 enemies react, surprised by the incoming projectile. The golden projectile impacts the ice barrier surrounding the group. Clatter! Multiple golden projectiles strike the ice barrier, which successfully withstands the barrage. Clatter! Clatter! The white-haired woman tells Zixi that an avalanche won't destroy the house, and it's her turn, to which Zixi confidently replies. Whoosh! Rustle! The man observes his enemies through binoculars, stating that he has been waiting for them for a very long time. Whoosh! Inside the crumbling room, the man prepares himself and his rifle. He kicks a wooden plank out of his way, clearing his line of sight. Thump! The man crouches on a broken structure, his hands glowing with red energy, poised for his next move. Flash! The ruined house is shown. Then the man outside expresses satisfaction with his infuriating plan. Whoosh! The man unleashes a torrent of brightly colored, fragmented symbols towards the approaching enemies. The pink-haired girl reacts with fury after being hit by the symbols, vowing to bomb him to death. Splash! Bang! The pink-haired girl expresses surprise as the white-haired woman takes charge, holding a large weapon and asking her companions what she hates most. Gasp! The white-haired woman angrily declares her hatred for run-through floozies as she fires her weapon. Boom! A powerful blue energy blast erupts on the snowy ground, creating a large impact. Boom! The man descends with a parachute, laughing and taunting his enemies to prepare for his return. Ha ha. The blonde boy calls out to Big Sister that the man is escaping. As the white-haired woman charges forward, whoosh, Russell! The white-haired woman furiously declares her intent to kill him, while her companions urge her to calm down. Stomp! The man continues his parachute descent down the dam wall, with the furious woman and her team in pursuit. The man lands on the icy dam, his hand glowing with pink energy, preparing for his final move. Swoosh! The man bids his enemies farewell with a determined look on his face, poised to execute his plan. Water blasts powerfully from the dam gate, released by a surge of pink energy. The man races along the dam, deciding to open even more gates to increase the flow. Multiple dam gates open sequentially, unleashing torrents of water and ice with escalating force. A colossal wave of water and ice surges forward, creating a destructive force across the landscape. The vast, snowy expanse stretches out, with the man's tiny enemies far in the distance, seemingly unaware of the approaching flood. The three enemies advance through the snow, encased in a protective energy sphere, as a powerful wind surrounds them. Zixi spots something and declares she found the man, but the white-haired woman stops her, explaining there's no ability fluctuation where Zixi is looking. Yuan Yi, the blonde boy, appears surprised, questioning a strange sound in the distance as rumbling echoes. A close-up reveals the monstrous, churning wave of water and ice, bearing down with immense power. Yuan Yi shouts about a flood as the massive, rapidly approaching wave of water overtakes the enemies. The white-haired woman immediately identifies it as a trap, urging Yuan Yi to run quickly, to which he agrees, scrambling to escape. The three enemies stand precariously on a rapidly diminishing mound of ice, surrounded by the raging, rising water. From a distance, the trio desperately clings to their melting ice platform as the floodwaters rage around them. The white-haired woman commands them to move quickly, as they are enveloped in a protective but rapidly weakening ice barrier. Yuan Yi, straining to maintain the ice bubble, states he's doing his best but laments that all the surrounding snow has melted, leaving him with no more to use as the ice melts and shatters. The three enemies are utterly overwhelmed and swept away by the furious floodwaters. Zixi and Yuan Yi are tossed violently by the water, while the white-haired woman struggles to hold her protective sphere amidst the torrent. The large, icy sphere containing the three enemies is helplessly carried away by the powerful current. The raging flood transforms the snowy landscape into a massive, rapidly flowing river. The floodwaters continue to surge past the dam, having created a formidable river in their wake. The man stands victoriously on the snowy ground, asserting that his enemies would freeze to death if they hadn't drowned, then declares he can now safely return to destroy the cannons. The man pictures himself relaxing in a hot spring, smiling contentedly about his beautiful, carefree days returning soon. The man traverses the snowy terrain with his snowshoes, wishing he could move through it as easily as if it were flat land. The man glides swiftly across the vast, snow-covered mountains, leaving long tracks behind him. The man, armed with his rifle, discovers several figures partially buried in the snow, realizing they are enemies. The man approaches a large, ominous cave entrance, cautiously wondering if anyone is lurking inside. The man reacts with alarm, hoping a group of armed people doesn't suddenly appear and shoot him dead. With glowing pink energy in his hands, the man decides to prioritize destroying the two visible cannons. The man contemplates if melting the cannons would cause them to explode, then decides to ignore the shells, reasoning they would be useless without the cannons anyway, as the metal melts and shatters. The man enters a huge military facility, his eyes widening in shock at the sight of numerous massive weapons inside. The man stands in awe amidst endless rows of colossal artillery and large ammunition shells. The man expresses relief, realizing how fortunate he was that only a mortar was used against him previously, given the destructive power of these massive weapons. The man grimly acknowledges that even his strengthened house would be instantly obliterated by these formidable weapons. The man extends his hand, using pink energy to begin melting the large cannon before him. The man systematically melts all the massive cannons in the cavern, rendering them useless. Done. The man observes the vast amount of military supplies and vehicles, realizing there's enough to equip an entire army troop. The man deduces that the group of soldiers he previously encountered must have been attempting to reclaim this massive facility. The man sighs in frustration, lamenting that he cannot carry all the valuable supplies, feeling it's a pity to leave them behind. The man wishes the middle school girl were present, believing she could transport everything, and considers leaving the firearms too dangerous for others to find. The man resolves to return for the middle school girl, concluding it's safer to ensure all the valuable items remain in his control. The man walks back through the cavernous entrance, leaving the destroyed weapon facility behind him. The man spots glowing red handprints and rocks on the snowy ground, indicating a hidden trap. A single, glowing red handprint on a rock confirms the presence of a magical trap. The man yells, "Crap!" as multiple glowing red handprints and energy spikes erupt from the ground around him. A large, powerful red explosion engulfs the area where the man was standing, sending debris flying. From the dam above, the three enemies look down, observing the man's position as a cloud of reddish smoke rises from the explosion. The pink-haired girl, Zixi, grins menacingly, swearing to bomb the man to death. The white-haired woman casually tells her sis to check if the man is dead, while Zixi excitedly prepares a bomb. The white-haired woman stares intensely, her purple eyes wide in a moment of surprise or realization. Okay, I will read the text back to you. A powerful red explosion erupts on the ground, creating shattered debris. Within the dark cavern, a vibrant pink and green aura surrounds the man, as the sound of air flows around him. The man's body glows with a pink and green energy, confirming he has strengthened his defenses. The man, covered in a pink and green aura, reacts with alarm, noting the frightening rock explosion. He expresses relief, knowing he would have died if his clothes hadn't been strengthened. The man looks towards the cave entrance, deducing that the rock originated from above, indicating his enemies are right above the cave. The man, hands glowing red, prepares to counterattack, asserting that the ambush won't stop him. Streams of red energy surge from the ground, signaling an impending attack. The three enemies, surrounded by sharp red energy spikes erupting from the snow, react in distress as the white-haired woman declares, "This is bad." The three enemies are forcefully blasted into the air by an unseen explosion from below. Jagged debris and swirling dust indicate the violent impact and chaos of the explosion. The three enemies fall through the air, screaming, "Wah!" They land hard on the snowy ground, complaining about their injuries. "My butt!" and "My head!" The white-haired woman urgently commands the others to get up quickly, stating that the enemy is upon them. The trio scrambles to their feet, desperately fleeing across the snowy terrain as the man appears in the distance. The man takes cover behind rocks, aiming and firing his rifle repeatedly. Bullets rain down, striking the ground around the fleeing trio as they desperately try to escape. The three enemies fall to the ground amidst a hail of bullets, crying out, "Ah!" and "Y-A-A-A." Zixi and Yuan Yi are on the ground, injured, as the white-haired woman calls out, "Ayo!" and demands the man wait. The white-haired woman declares their surrender, surprising the man. Zixi angrily demands the man release her sister, preparing to use her power against him. The man reflects that his strengthened jacket allowed him to withstand the powerful explosive rocks. He considers his tactical options, realizing that if he shoots the white-haired woman first, he might not defend against Zixi in time. He then considers shooting Zixi first, but realizes the white-haired woman would retaliate. He also acknowledges the need to remain vigilant against a possible ambush from Yuan Yi, the blonde boy. The man proposes a truce, suggesting they can live peacefully if they stop bombarding his house. Zixi and the white-haired woman react with confusion, questioning his accusation of bombarding his house. Zixi asks if the man is the resident of the hillside villa. The man angrily confirms he is from the villa, explaining he only came out to investigate their constant bombardment, not for a casual excursion. The white-haired woman asks Zixi why she was bombing his house daily, and Zixi admits it felt good, and she couldn't stop. Zixi adds that she just wants to bomb rich people living in villas. The man, shocked, asks if she's sick in the head. The white-haired woman attempts to de-escalate, asking if they look like soldiers or are related to the ambushers. The man questions their presence alongside the soldiers, and the white-haired woman awkwardly claims it was a coincidence, asking if he believes her. The man stands silently, contemplating her explanation with a skeptical expression. The white-haired woman cries and apologizes, claiming it was a misunderstanding, but the man asserts he won't forgive them just because she's shedding tears. A close-up reveals the white-haired woman's leg is bleeding, confirming her injury from the earlier confrontation. Inside a military facility, the man observes Zixi expertly treating the white-haired woman's bullet wound, noting the woman's unusual calmness despite the pain. The man further observes Zixi's skill, deducing that the little girl's background must be more complex than it appears. The man reiterates his truce. They stop bombarding his house and he won't bother them, which the white-haired woman gratefully accepts. To show sincerity, the white-haired woman offers the man any resources from the facility, prompting Zixi to angrily protest giving away their stolen goods. The white-haired woman scolds Zixi for her actions that led to their predicament and her injury, prompting Zixi to humbly apologize. The white-haired woman attempts to sway the man, stating Zixi was merely playing and insensible, hoping for forgiveness, while the man notes her quick change in demeanor. The white-haired woman asks the man to put down his gun now that they've reconciled, to which he agrees. The white-haired woman offers to teach the man superpower techniques, intriguing him, who questions superpower. She explains that superhumans existed before the abnormal climate, possessing what they call superpower, as she demonstrates a swirling energy in her palm. An illustration depicts a superhuman emitting magnetic-like fluctuations, which she explains allow for sensing their rough location. The man states that after their conversation, he now has a basic understanding of how to sense others' superpower fluctuations. The man asks if new superpowers can awaken and if different types are compatible, to which the white-haired woman replies that from her knowledge, one person can only have one kind of superpower, and they aren't compatible. The man, Han Feng, contemplates his newly discovered abilities, wondering why he possesses 3 distinct superpowers: red, green, and purple, and resolves to research them further. Oh, Han Feng formally introduces himself as a former office worker, extending his hand to Zhang Ruoqing, who reciprocates, identifying herself as a former teacher, as they both express hopes for cooperation. Zhang Ruoqing, with a menacing smile, confronts Han Feng, demanding he explain why he previously called her a run-through floozy and damned uggo. As Han Feng and Zhang Ruoqing shake hands, Zixi observes, commenting that she knew her sister wouldn't let him off easily.